After a long day at work, I came home to my building and noticed a small child sitting on the stairs. As I got closer, I realized that it was a little girl in a white dress with red on it. Her long, black hair covering her face. When I got to the steps, I decided to ask if she was lost or locked out of the building. When she looked up at me, I was startled by the way that her eyes looked, as if she hadn't slept in weeks because of the dark rings around them. I can't find my daddy. He said he was gonna be here, but he's not. Feeling bad for her, I said, "Well, why don't you come into my apartment and we'll wait until he shows up?" As I said this, the little girl got a huge grin on her face that looked almost evil. I turned and opened the door to my building, and we went up. We made our way into my apartment. I turned around and noticed that the red on her dress looked more like a stain. I asked how it got there, really hoping that she wouldn't say that she was hurt. But to my surprise, she just giggled and said, "Oh, that's just from where I helped my daddy with his work." I was about to head into the living room when I heard a crash from my bedroom. I ran to see what happened and noticed a broken lamp on the floor. I looked up and noticed that my window was open. I shrugged, thinking that I probably just left it open by mistake. I bent down and started to pick up the pieces of the broken lamp. After getting the last piece into the garbage, I turned around and was met by the little girl standing in my doorway. She had that creepy grin on her face again. Then I noticed why. She was holding a small knife in her hand. A million things ran through my mind about how to get the knife away from her. Or just run like hell. That's when it happened. She put the knife up to the corner of her mouth and cut a slit on each side of her mouth. Watching in horror as this little girl cut up her face, I didn't notice someone else was in the room. As the blood ran down her face, still with the grin, she spoke. "Look, Daddy, now I'm just like you." I heard a rough voice behind me say,
"Why, yes, you do, sweetie. And you did good tonight. You picked a nice one."
I turned to see who this creep was, and was met with an almost mirror image of what the little girl looked like. His black hair, those horrid black eyes, and that grin. Oh, that grin. His skin looked like chalk, and the blood stains on his white hoodie matched the ones on the little girl's dress. Too scared to move, I just stared in horror at this horrible person in front of me. And the last thing that I heard before everything went dark was a giggle from the little girl. And then the man said,
Go to sleep.
The next day, a voice came over the radio.
Breaking news. At 8 a.m. this morning, another woman was found mutilated in her apartment. This is the 10th one in a string of brutal killings that have plagued the city this month. Police have no leads, but they assume it is the same person who caused the other ones.
A man sighs and turns off his car and his radio.
What is this city coming to?
He gets out and walks up to his complex and notices a little girl sitting on the sidewalk. It was late, so he walked over to her and asked,
Are you lost or locked out of your house, little girl?
She looked up at the man, grinning, an evil grin, and then spoke. Yes, I can't find my daddy. He said he was going to be here, but he's not.